Hello, everyone. We'll take a couple of minutes for our audience to join us. In the meantime, you guys could have a discussion among yourself if you like, personal ones. We have three lawyers, and it seems like you guys know each other very well, like professionally and a friendly way too.
সুপ্রিম কোর্ট বার অ্যাসোসিয়েশনের ইয়েটা পাওয়া যাচ্ছে না কিন্তু ওয়েবসাইটটা খেয়াল করেছেন? ইট ইজ ডাউন।
I thought it is only me who is not getting that, but
হুম
I thought it is only me. But now
It appears that we have a good audience now. Our audience has joined. Welcome to the Persecution Report. Today, we are joined by three eminent lawyers from the Supreme Court of Bangladesh, discussing a pressing matter involving rule of law and democracy overall. Large numbers of lawyers, because of their association with Bangladesh Awami League, have been barred from participating in the election in the Bar Councils of Bangladesh. The Bar Councils of Bangladesh are seen as a bastion of democracy, councils that defend freedom, rule of law, and has a huge contribution towards achieving democracy in the country. Joining me today, Barrister Masood Akhtar, Barrister Tapash Kanti Bol, and Senior Advocate AKM Islam. My first question to Barrister Tapash Kanti Bol. Barrister Tapash, can you please explain us what's exactly happening there? What your colleagues are facing in Bangladesh, in the Supreme Court and other bar houses?
you know that in Bangladesh, the bar associations every year they held their elections for electing the leaders or the executive leaders for these bar associations. So on this year, when the Supreme Court Bar Association election subcommittee declared that you apply for election, then that a lot of people were submitted. However, on 27th of April, Supreme Court Bar Association election subcommittee's leader or head, former Justice Muhammad Miftauddin Chaudhuri, he said that those who are connected with the politics of Bangladesh Awami League cannot compete in the election, and on this issue, he cancelled their application or nomination paper for election. And on this issue, the lawyers who support Bangladesh Awami League, they are protesting in the court area as we speak. They are protesting against this decision. Meanwhile, in Dhaka Bar Association, the election took place in last Wednesday and Thursday, in which also Bangladesh Awami League's lawyers were not allowed to participate. And as a result, BNP won all the seats in that election, and only 33% of the votes were casted. Now, in this situation, it has become very difficult for the lawyers of Bangladesh Awami League who support Bangladesh Awami League to upheld the human rights of the people of Bangladesh, to protect the freedom of association and freedom of expression of general public as well as of the lawyers. That is it from my side.
Thank you, Barrister Bol. Bangladesh's constitution guarantees freedom of association and the right to equal participation. Bar associations, while private professional bodies, have immense public significance. From a purely constitutional standpoint, can the Supreme Court Bar Association or Dhaka Bar Association legally justify barring lawyers from candidacy based on their political affiliation? Advocate Islam. And the second question is, even citing terrorism law that bans that Awami League as a party, where does constitutional law draw the line here? You are muted, Mr. Advocate Islam.
First of all, thanks the moderator or the host of this episode, and thanks to my co-speakers too, and also to the viewers and listeners of this episode. First of all, let me give a 2 lines introduction of this Bangladesh Bar Council. Is a statutory autonomous body, not a private professional body. Established under the Bangladesh Legal Practitioners and Bar Council Order 1972. It is a regulatory authority under the Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliament Affairs that manages legal education, enrollment and discipline and other things inside of the lawyers of the country. Now, to come with this thing, it's a totally a regulatory thing, and there is a principle in the legal arena that whenever a regulation is less privileged for its members, then it overact by the superior laws. That means in this case, if any members have been deprived of their rights guaranteed under Constitution, then the constitutional rights will prevail. If that constitutional rights have been manipulated by the state or the governance, then in some cases, since Bangladesh is a signatory of a lot of international covenants, UN covenants, so that triggers up the violation over there, so that will supervise the interest, and that will guarantee through the process to the lawyers of Bangladesh currently that they think that happening. The Bangladesh Bar Council, through a meeting, cannot pass something that didn't, or it takes out the rights to practice, rights to participate in the election, rights of their profession, rights of association. These are all things that comes out guaranteed by the Constitution of Bangladesh at large. Now, to discuss with, first of all, it triggers up their activities, the current Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association's activities regarding the banning or discarding or not granting or canceling the nomination papers of the candidates that are aligned with Bangladesh Awami League or any party. So this is the underlining one theory that always we have been practicing in the Supreme Court Bar Association and also other bar associations. They are autonomous and they are neutral. So see, after 71, when Bangladesh got independence, at that time also, there are a lot of lawyers belonging to East Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islam, those who committed crimes, and they personally didn't commit the crime, but they were associated with East Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islam and later with Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islam. Though they were the political party that vitiated or perpetrated helping the Pakistan military forces in Bangladesh, violating the normal citizens, committing war crimes, crime against humanity, raping women, violating the normal people. So even then, I have seen those lot of lawyers, they later come up as a elected personnel or holding the office in Supreme Court Bar Association. I can name somebody that belongs to those. They have the political activities that aligned with their, violative party that committed those crimes with the party decision during 1971 war.
Advocate Islam, we would like to stay on the current matter.
All right, sure. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. So what happened is we have seen that, but now what they are doing is whatever they are doing, it's very basically it triggers the violation of constitutional rights, which is in Article 38, is guarantees the freedom of association. So if we under the freedom of association, any citizen or any professional citizen, they can come up with associating within their beliefs or within their what is called these ideologies. So it is guaranteed by the Constitution. So another one is, since it is in Bar Council, it is a professional body, it's a lawyer's body, which is
also it's a regulatory body as well.
Regulatory body, as I said. So it is under Article 40 specifically protects the freedom of the profession and occupation. So in that case, they have all rights to participate in the governance of this association, and there is nothing can be stopping them. But if somebody is doing it, because the current they have the majority in the current committee and they are also aligned with some political party, and which was not supposed to be in the bar. In the bar is a neutral body, and where they should not be doing it. So so we can see that when a bar association with immense public significance becomes a de facto gatekeeper of professional opportunities, a ban on candidacy for a political subset of lawyers becomes what you aptly termed as constructive ban, which is not applicable on a individual lawyer, those who are attending or trying to be a office holders for participating into the election process. So this is a kind of if you come up, they have mentioned about since they say so-called Awami League has been banned on the Terror Act in the what is called in the Parliament. Here, if you are associated, but personally you have to be criminalized. But personally you have to have the act of criminality proven, and that has to go through the Bar Council's tribunal with the due process and everything to decide on it. Without being doing it, they really cannot say they're flushing out or assumption that this person is associated with that party, and since that party is aligned with him, but personally he's not been criminalized, or he's not been identified, or he didn't do anything like that. So it's a kind of a guilt by association that you can say, and guilt by association is not applicable for a personal professional in the legal arena with the professional body and all this stuff, unless
I mean it violates very basic of the legal profession.
Oh yeah, sure. These are the points.
Like before proven guilty, everyone is innocent.
Right. Of course, it is understood because there are a lot of processes. There are the breach of, say, even if you are not given, you are banning somebody's nomination paper, but they have to have the tribunal over there or any committee for going to lodge their complaint and go through the due process as when election happen. In the election, when somebody is not satisfied with the process, we'll
come back to you, Mr. Islam. We'll come back to you. To Barrister Ball, that we also understand that bar councils of Bangladesh are regulatory bodies and they have the power given to them in good faith that the rights of the people would not be countermanded. One. Secondly, that because it's the bar council, especially its court is the upholder of our constitution and the rule of law. What's on stake here? Where is the ethics? Do you see any ethical point of view? What's the duty of the bar council in Bangladesh, and where do they stand? Where do they stand ethically now?
First of all, Bangladesh, every bar council is bar association. Every bar association is regulated by Bangladesh Bar Council, right? Now, we have this ethical code of conduct. I will read what is written in that Bangladesh Bar Council Canons of Professional Conduct and Etiquette. In the preamble, it is very clearly written that whereas the rule of law is an essential feature of civilized society and a precondition for realizing the ideal justice, and whereas such a society affords to all citizens the equal protection of law, which includes, I'll stop here, which includes actually the lawyers as well. So, in another place, in the same preamble, it says that, and whereas by their efforts, advocates are expected to contribute significantly towards the creation and maintenance of conditions in which a government established by law. I will again stop and ask you the question, or everyone who was listening to it, that whether we have a government which is established by law at at this point of time. The answer is very clear cut, that at this point of time we don't have a government which is established by law. Because if you, we all know that how Yunus government was established, and then Yunus organized this election without Bangladesh Awami League, the largest political party in Bangladesh, Bangladesh Awami League. So in this situation, we cannot expect that the government will actually follow this code of conduct or etiquette of the lawyers in Bangladesh. Another thing I want to tell you is that what is the UN standard, right? In 1990, there is this basic principles on the role of lawyers passed by the UN. And even though it is not enforced in any court, in Article 16, 21, 24, and 25, it is clearly said, which you can see right now on the screen, that in these four articles, it is clearly said that it is the duty of the lawyers to uphold human rights and rule of law in every country. And for that, they have to enjoy unconditional freedom of association and freedom of expression. So, bar association is a way for the lawyers to form an association and to express their will or the mandates, which is to uphold human rights and rule of law. So, every law, even in that declaration, it is clearly written that what is the duty of the government. In Article 21, it is clearly written that the duty of the government is to facilitate for organizing unhindered election or freedom of association, and so that they can enjoy unconditional freedom of expression. Who are they? They are the lawyers. So now you will see that this situation is hindered because the term rule of law means that the law will be applicable for everyone equally. It will be applicable for the government and for the people of Bangladesh equally. There cannot be two sets of law for these two group of people. But unfortunately, after 5th of August 2024, we have seen that there are two sets of laws are being applied, because Yunus government, then his puppet NCPRs and Jamati Islamis, they enjoyed immunity. BNP enjoyed immunity, whereas Bangladesh Awami League activists and leaders, they faced harassing cases, all false and biased. There is no independent judiciary right at this moment in Bangladesh, which is another problem. And also, you don't have a freedom of expression in Bangladesh, which is another pillar to prove that whether the Bangladesh is a democratic country or not. So 3 organs of the country is right now compromised, not working. One, there is no election that was impartial. Second, the court is not working because the judges are not free and the lawyers are shackled. And number 3 is there is no freedom of expression. The press today is International Press Freedom Day, but unfortunately, I mean, hundreds of journalists or hundreds of activists are inside the prison because of their right to freedom of expression. Now, the problem we have to understand that if you have an election subcommittee, right? If you are not satisfied or if you are questioning the political identity or belief of a certain person, those persons, after submitting their nomination paper, they have the right to get a notice from the subcommittee that for this and this reason, we want to discard your nomination paper. Did that happen? No. There was no opportunity provided to these leaders so that they can speak up that why their nomination is getting, is not getting is getting declared illegal. So in this situation, we can say that there is even no natural justice in Bangladesh at this moment. So the final thing that I want to say is that the main reason why BNP Jamaat government is not allowing free and fair election in the Bar Association, number one reason is that the national election was not free and fair. Number one, they most illegally and unconstitutionally are keeping the Awami League leaders in the prison and still filing biased and baseless cases against Awami League leaders and activists, or even anyone who supports the liberation war in Bangladesh. So in this situation, and as I said,
I
there
mean,
is
liberation
no
war, I
freedom of
mean the
expression.
ideologies of liberation war.
Right. So
I
in
think
this
you have said
situation,
no.
if they allow the courts to be ruled or to be regulated by Awami League lawyers, then they face that immediate threat that in every court they will speak up, they will submit that why every single step of this government, of this parliament, is illegal and unconstitutional. Not only that, they will speak up in front of the International Bar Association or international bodies, which will be a problem for this unconstitutional, undemocratic government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Ball. Many of the disqualified candidates, including veteran leaders, submitted their papers as individuals. When the subcommittee rejects these biased alleged ties, are they essentially enforcing a loyalty test, Barrister Masdaktar? And is it constitutional? Because my understanding is that the Constitution forbids such action. You are muted, sir. Unmute, please. Barrister Akhtar. Barrister Akhtar, please unmute. Barrister Akhtar, unmute.
Sorry. Thank you for having me in the show. And my co-panelists have already described various legal aspects of this current saga. However, first of all, to your audience, to the audience, those who are listening very intensively to this discussion, I want to apologize to them. The reason I want to apologize to them, because today I'm ashamed as the proud member of Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association. The reason I'm ashamed, because I'm failing spectacularly to protect my personal right as a member of Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association. So how we the lawyers will be protecting the rights of the very vulnerable of our society, of our country? So my sincerest apologies to you all, because we the lawyers, the oath we have taken, the solemn oath we have taken, that is a very solemn oath for us, for our profession. That is, we will protect the rights of every citizen of the country who doesn't have a voice. We'll give voice to them. But today, we don't have a voice. Our voice has been curtailed, not only national standard, international standard, and any substandard. Let me explain to you very simply. What is Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association? Supreme Court Bar Association is an association of the professional members, those who are the members, those who have the right to practice in front of Bangladesh Supreme Court, both branches of the Supreme Court, High Court and Appellate Divisions. So those who are member of the Supreme Court Bar Association, they have association. For this, you have to fulfill some criteria. You have to be 1 year first as an enrolled advocate. After that, you will be given an interview, and then you start giving your dues. And obviously, you have to abide by the constitution of the Supreme Court Bar Association. As a member, for any organization, you need to abide by the, if you are a member, you have to abide by the constitution of that organization. So as a member of the Supreme Court Bar Association, we need to abide by the our constitution. Now, this constitution has a election subcommittee under this constitution. Quite interestingly, another thing, while we are discussing, you can check, there is quite funny thing happening. You cannot find the Supreme Court Bar Association website. I don't know whether you are getting access to it. I'm failing to getting access to it. It is a blackout. Remember 5th of August? People say that is Awami League government that time created a blanket blackout and people protested against it. Where are those protesters? Today we can see for just election for Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association are committing heinous crime, creating digital blackout today is continuing. So why are you protesting against such illegal activities? Number one. Number two, this subcommittee can only check whether I am a member to be eligible. Let us discuss what is the eligibility to contest in the Supreme Court Bar Association election. I have to be eligible, I have to be a member, my dues has to be cleared, and for certain posts, certain years of practice required, like for members, for assistant secretary, for the secretaries, and for the president. There are certain number of years you need to practice. If you fulfill those criteria, then you have to, somebody will have to propose your name and second your name. So they must have also comply with those requirements, because not any Tom and Dick, Harry can go and propose your name. It has to be, he or she has to be a member of the Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association. If these basic rules are fulfilled, in which article, under which rule of the Bangladesh Supreme Court Bar Association you can disqualify someone? Is it a jungle law? What is doing Supreme Court Bar Association ad hoc committee? They are resorted to law of jungle. Simply, this is a barbaric situation. This bar association cannot get affiliation to any international organization. Today we have seen that is Council of Bars and Law Societies of Europe has written to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister should step in. Otherwise, what will happen? The whole country can come under serious scrutiny. These people must understand what they are embarking on. And you see the irony of Janab Mr. Mahabuddin Khokon sir, the senior advocate, Mr. Mahabuddin Khokon sir, he was elected 7 times as the secretary when Awami League was in government. When Awami League was in government, there was only 2 elections in 1 post. There was a bit of controversy. We accept that. But was there any time Supreme Court Bar Association election was this way vilified, this way undermined, this way? This is unprecedented in the history of Supreme Court Bar Association. When 1948, I think it was formed as the High Court Bar Association. Of this 77, 78 years history of our Supreme Court Bar Association, this is the first time this kind of incident happened. These people, I asked my colleagues, those who have said, that is, we didn't protest against when Awami League was in government. But why are your consciences now you're destroying? You have simply destroyed the Supreme Court Bar Association. You know, in Supreme Court Bar Association, people do not. The question of Awami affiliation doesn't come into question. This is a wrong question to us. In Supreme Court Bar Association election, we do not participate in the election in any political party's name. I have personal political affiliation. That's my personal matter. That doesn't exclude me from taking part in any elections. I am a member of many clubs in Bangladesh. That doesn't preclude me. That is, you support Bangladesh Awami League. That's why you cannot become a treasurer of a particular political party member. I'm a member of it, like a cadet college club, and it doesn't preclude me. This is something people should take serious notice, and it is a concern of our international atmosphere as well. People should produce, people should tell people that is what is happening in Bangladesh Supreme Court is destroying our Supreme Court. It destroying the rule of law, is actually questioning very existence of our legal system, because lawyers' rights are not protected. How they will protect the rights of other people? Those people are, though, today, this ad hoc committee, there is no provision of ad hoc committee. There is no provision of ad hoc committee in the constitution of the Supreme Court Bar Association. Okay, in given circumstances, even this ad hoc committee, and Mehtabuddin sir, Justice Mehtabuddin sir, I really ask your conscience. You are a justice. I've been to your court, and you serve as a justice when Bangladesh Awami League was in power. Where is your conscience? Which law allows you? We do not take lessons from the examples. That is what happens. When we are in power, we think that is power will never go. Because the heinous crime, Justice Mehtabuddin sir and others, those who have taken away the rights of 40 lawyers, 40 innocent lawyers, their political right, their human rights, their every right has been taken away, which is also questioning because Bangladesh is a signatory of international human rights conventions and many other instruments. As a member of United Nations, Bangladesh, through these actions, Bangladesh is failing very miserably, and we as a nation will pay for it. Today, I am ashamed that is the people, those who are today doing this, are my fellow lawyers, unfortunately. And Mr. Mahfouz, the so-called acting secretary, dear brother, you're very personally known to me. You know our relationship. But I ask you, what are you doing? Where is your conscience? You know, during the election, when you were elected, how many Awami Leagues vote you got? You know, because people do not vote in the election only on the basis of political affiliation. People vote for personal connections as well. So if you are equating with the whole country's scenario, the way you are destroying the country, you are destroying the constitution, now you're destroying the very place which is the last resort for the people of Bangladesh for justice. You're destroying it. You are party to it. Remember, history will never forgive those people who are seriously involved in it. And there is a rumor going on, and whether this discourse between the Deputy Speaker and Honorable Mr. Senior Advocate Mahabuddin Khokon sir, you see, where is your reputation now? Your reputation is tatters. You were 7 times elected by the vote of the people. Why did you destroy that? So I urge that is for the sake of the country, to save our nation from the disrepair, to create an atmosphere where we can all work together for justice, especially to my fellow lawyers. This is not a standard expected from you. This is not a standard that is you should give it to the people. We are really ashamed of you. We work together.
Thank you, Barrister.
I request you, let's work together to restore our judiciary. Thank you.
We'll come back to you, Barrister Akhtar. We can understand your emotion because this is a matter. This matter is really pressing. It involves everything of the country: people, democracy, rule of law, and the future. So, Jian, do you have something more to show us? Please show us what you have.
Thank you, Tonoy Bhai. So we have already heard the legal aspects of things. I'm just going to summarize the numbers and the stats to give a better understanding. So here in the slides, you can see three numbers: 42, 84, and 8,000 plus. In the next few slides, I'm going to explain what these numbers mean and how they relate to the future of justice in Bangladesh. 42 is the number of the candidates whose nominations were rejected before even they could participate in the upcoming election. 84 lawyers were sent to jail in April 2025, I believe, were denied bails, and they are still imprisoned to this day. And many of the lawyers with a slight leaning to Awami League are abroad, fearing for their life. And 8,000 plus are the numbers of the Supreme Court Bar Association members. Now let's take a look at the timeline and what happened to these bars, the Dhaka Bar Association and the Supreme Court Bar Association. If we go back to February 2024, we will see that there was an election at the Dhaka Bar Association, which the Awami League had a landslide victory. And then a month later, the Supreme Court Bar Association held an election where BMP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, won the presidency, while the Awami League won the secretary plus 10 other posts. So what does it say? Even during the Awami League government time, when there were so many complaints, BMP were able to participate in the election. Then the catastrophic August 5 happened. Awami League government was ousted through a violent insurrection and international conspiracy. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had to depart to a safe location. And it all created a political earthquake. About 8 days later, when all the lawyers were in complete disarray, fearing for their life, BNP Jamaat leaning lawyers formed a so-called ad hoc committee. Ad hoc committee. There was no mandate, nothing. They just formed it and then took over the Dhaka Bar without any election. And then April 2025, those lawyers were sent to jail. Now we come to April 2026, when Dhaka Bar held the election where Awami League was not allowed to participate. 27,760 registered members are there. And if you take a look at the bar chart in February, Awami League dominated the election. But in 2026, as you can see in the third card, there are no Awami League leaning candidates. And look at the voter turnout, only 34%. Because people are not going to vote, because a significant portion is being excluded. Now the May 2026 election that is coming, there were about 90 candidates, I think, that submitted their nomination. And 47% of those, mostly pro-Awami League as they allege, were disqualified without any explanation by a committee, by an extraordinary meeting that only contained the pro-BNP and Jamaat lawyers. So what does it say? If we take a look at the Dhaka Bar on the left and the Cox's Bazar Bar, where Awami League was allowed to participate, pro-Awami League lawyers, you will see that at the Cox's Bazar Bar, even though the Awami League did not probably win the top post, they did win 7 out of the 17 posts. That means no matter what they are trying to portray, people still go and vote for Awami League leaning lawyers. What this government and their lackeys are trying to do is an engineered exclusion. This is not democracy, Mr. Alam. And we have already heard about the constitutional and legal aspects, that it is violating the constitutional rights, the Article 38, freedom of association, and they are abusing a vague anti-terrorism law that was established to protect Bangladesh against terrorism, from terrorism. And we are seeing a blatant disregard for due process. There is no procedural fairness in what they did. So, from all this, there are four key takeaways that we can take today. All our institutions are being captured, including including the most prominent professional bodies of the country. As Justice Makers Bangladesh in France very appropriately stated, that this is a blatant and dangerous attack on the core principles of democracy, the rule of law, and the independence of the legal profession. The world, the international communities must pay heed. Back to you.
Thank you, Jihan. Uh, this is really praising. Advocate Amar Islam, what does it say about institutional independence and due process?
Well, first of all, there's two things that you already says institutional thing, but I remember Mr. Kokan during 96, we have been in a case, company case. He took the case in favor of the organization that make a decision on the basis of majority resolution, and for the AGM to be held for last 3 years and the current year. That means usually all our lawyers, they know when it is a matter of delay condemnation in AGM, that's supposed to be done, taken, the condemnation, delay condemnation should be taken from the High Court. And his client never took it. And they substitute this thing with the majority resolution. And he didn't own the case. The matter that I wanted to bring it up, still now he is in an ad hoc committee, having no power to make such decisions at all, unless just to conduct one regular election of the bar, nothing else more than that. Now, the practice of going around other than the legal framework is a habit of their culture, habit of their practice, even like practicing only for money. This is not the thing that meet should be done in a professional arena. Now, see, the my other co-panelists, they mentioned about the election that happened in February. What is clearly 60% of the citizens of Bangladesh have been pushed out forcefully not to participate into the election, and making, as a political party, making Awami League not to participate. So this is 60% of citizens where in an election have been pushed out and barred to participate into the election, which is termed as non-participatory and also non-inclusiveness. These two characteristics have been evaded, and the democratic process have been hindered over there. By this way, those people are, I took out two examples. One is national and another is personal, professional characteristics of specific lawyer, where when we take case, we see the merits, where we stand. We don't fight for the money. This is my personal opinion. I never gave the habitual offenders the leeway out of my practice. So to come up with this organizational setup, this organization, the SC bar, should have been autonomous and have the fair characteristics and should be neutral. That's the bottom line. And if the ad hoc committee failed to respect the fairness of this society or of the association, then it is at the same time aligned with the violation of constitutional guarantees. So when the constitutional guarantees of Bangladesh have been violated, at the same time, the international covenants that I said, ICCPR is one, and then professional bodies, another, we know the ABA is here, American Bar Association. I'm a member of like IBA, International Bar Association. Everywhere people talks about the violations of Bangladesh. Very soon, you'll be seeing that some papers are coming up in IBA and ABA. So what it makes is the Supreme Court Bar Association, it should be the last bastion. That's the last den for
Exactly.
for getting people the righteous right. But where it is failing, where people, as my another panelist says very rightly, that if we cannot play right, then how we can guarantee the rights to our civilians, those who come to us. So in overall, in Bangladesh, it is a death of due process. Again, it is a death of due process as a whole inside the most prestigious lawyers association of the country. It is a threat to the whole society and also the law and order situation of the country. So it becomes, it gives me one thing rightly to say that after the 18 month of Mr. Yunus's mob government or mob authority, this is another mob using the administrative quasi powers against the public opinions, against the professional public opinions, hindering or banning their rights. So this is another mob going on inside the Supreme Court Bar Association in the process of election. I don't see anything else. And you see, at the same time, what's happening is not the current situation. In the future, it's going to show it's setting up the precedents of purging or separating certain people for certain belief or certain alignments, which is not possible, which is not granted, which cannot. It's not a motto of a democracy. The motto of a democracy is participatory, inclusiveness of all sections. It's not, they see where people goes at the end of the day when people don't get any solution anywhere, they comes to the lawyer. If the lawyers and the lawyer association are vitiated, they are not following the due process, they are not following all those rules and regulations, the law and order situations, where people will go. They are putting up all those black faces on the earth, nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Islam.
We are so sorry to say that, but I wanted to say that another mob is going on inside the Supreme Court Bar Association right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So where people will go, Barrister Masood Akhtar, that we have seen international bodies condemning these actions, and can people go to international courts, or is there any international mechanism against such vile action? Barrister Masood Akhtar, you are muted.
What I'm saying, that your question is $1 million question. That is where people will go, because the country's highest body of the country is in disarray. The Supreme Court Bar Association is in serious disrepute and in disarray. It's not functioning. So where people should go to protect their rights? Whether people should resort to the international atmosphere, international sphere for protecting their rights. As you can see, that is already Council of Bars and Law Societies of Europe, one of the highest body of European lawyers, has raised their concern to the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Tarek Rahman. As you have also seen, that is the French-based human rights organization, Justice Makers, are very concerned and condemning this kind of actions of Bangladesh government and their proxies. And you will see, as my fellow panelist, learned advocate Mr. Islam has raised, that is, these issues will be coming in front of the International Bar Association, IBA, BBA, and all these organizations are taking notice. And United Nations, you see, United Nations, we are part of the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, as Mr. Taposh Baul has explained. That is, as part of the our SDG goal, we need to develop resilient judiciary. And the way it's going, these all are undermining our very credential in the international stage. We are failing to protect the rights of the people, the professionals in the country, and they are the image of the whole society. And this is how, when this society, that is, lawyer doesn't have rights in a country, just imagine what the ordinary people have. This issue is now coming in front of the international community, and it is creating the buzz. This is a very slippery slope for the country. If the country continues in this path, we don't know where we'll end up. Probably the issue will be, because this is how all these gases are forming, all these people's frustration and all this human rights violation of rights, political rights, which are guaranteed by United Nations for every citizen of the country. Now, as a signatory, we are violating these rules. So there will be time when we will have to face consequences internationally. There is no doubt about it. But still, I believe, for the sake of the country, these people are professional people. So, as my fellow panelist has rightly identified, Dr. Yunus introduced the mob. Now the institutional mob has taken shape in such a way, it is going to cripple our whole country, our institutions. When these institutions of our country collapse, you can see we are envisaging Somalia or other kind of countries where there will be no rule of law, because rule of law, if the lawyers cannot protect their, this is the very line I'm giving across, is that protect their rights, how they will protect the rights of the very vulnerable. Now what is happening? Judges are controlled, lawyers are controlled, and the whole atmosphere is in a mobocracy. People are not following the rules. People are following that part of our constitution which suits them. This is a very slippery slope. And internationally, it is actually destroying our reputations. It is actually bringing, many people are thinking, during the time of Dr. Muhammad Yunus, many people thought nobody will question the authority of Dr. Muhammad Yunus. But you see, that veil has gone now. Now, many international organizations are saying what Dr. Muhammad Yunus has done to the institution of Bangladesh. And Mr. Tarek Rahman, the Prime Minister now, if he continues that path, I am telling you, he doesn't have the clout like Dr. Muhammad Yunus, what we have realized, what we have faced over 18 months. So Mr. Tarek Rahman has a serious question to answer, because end of the days, those people to satisfy him, those who are doing this, end of the day, it all will come to the shoulder of Mr. Prime Minister. So Mr. Prime Minister needs to take steps, stop this hooliganism, stop this barbarism, stop this lawlessness in our Supreme Court, in our Dhaka. But you see, another pattern is emerging. I think the rulers, those who are ruling the country, they should take notice of it. In Dhaka Bar, out of 27,000 plus members, only 34% voted. That means 64%, 66% people didn't vote, didn't bother to vote. Why they didn't vote? This is the pattern, what happened in the February election. 66 to 70% people actually boycotted the election. So the majority people, the anger of the majority is boiling. It is a very boiling hot water. So if the people, those who are thinking they are beyond any scrutiny, they should take the notice. When the people will rise, their fall will be spectacular. So I would suggest that is for the best interest of our country. We should work, all should work together. Bangladesh Awami League and Pro-Awami League and independence, pro-independence people, because they have given birth to this country. They want to work together to create the country, a prosperous country. But the way the division are been sowed, that hope is now dashed. So still, with shattered hope, I would request that is come back to your senses, allow these people, these 40 people whose nomination you have cancelled, so that they can participate, and let the democracy take its toll. If democracy want to reject the pro-Awami League people, let it be. But why are you afraid of? Now what you're doing, you're shutting up the completely. It hasn't happened before. In the elections, BNP didn't participate in the national election, but BNP was not shut out. But now you are following the path of shutting out all political dissent or all different political opinions. But telling you, brothers,
Thank you, Mr. we have a time limit. Thank you. Pastor Bo, where people should go? Same question to you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
It's the same question. Where the people will go in such situation? Like, people cannot.
First of all, people believe that they can go to the international forum, but international law itself is actually a soft law. So you cannot go to any international forum. For example, I have told you about the 1990 declaration. It says very strong words against the government and reminds the government about its duties. But if the government fails to go or perform these duties, then what will happen? Can we go to the International Court of Justice or International Criminal Court? Because that's about individual criminal responsibility. And about International Court of Justice, it has to be a state which brings an allegation against another country for violating human rights. So that can happen. Otherwise, there are UN special rapporteurs, there are UN working groups. So lawyers from Bangladesh can write to these groups and special rapporteurs because of violation of their special because of the violation of freedom of assembly and freedom of expression. Very interestingly, probably you have noticed that international human rights organizations like Human Rights Watch or Amnesty International or Transparency International, they're totally silent about these things. That is because they are being paid by I would just clearly say they are being paid by USA. So from where the fund comes, they cannot just go against them. That is my understanding. And hence the forum is actually internal forum. The lawyers of against this atrocious audacity or nonsense decision of the government of Bangladesh to rule out the participation of Awami League lawyers. So one thing we have to understand very clearly, because of the recent data we have, right, that the Bangladesh army is still not going back to the barrack, right, not going back to the cantonment. There is still on the streets, and we now are hunching that there might be a coup. And one of the main reasons why lawyers' voices are being shut down, because army is still controlling the whole game from the back. So these things we need to talk, and that's why, since the power is coming from the army, we need to challenge them in front of the international body, which is going to the Security Council, going to the General Assembly, that this is being done by army, by the Bangladesh government. Now, we also have to understand that next year there is this universal periodic review timeline for Bangladesh. So that means the foreign minister, the law minister, they will be in Geneva to give account of what they have done to protect the human rights, the constitutional rights of people of Bangladesh. So the lawyers, there should be a representative lawyers in Geneva next year who can question directly to the government of Bangladesh that why you have violated these rights. We, the activists, also,
Thank you, Barrister Ball.
I'll just
Our
say
time.
I'll just say the last thing, that we, the activists, must continue building our networks, and we must continue asking questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barrister Ball. As we wrap up today's edition of the Persecution Report, one thing is abundantly clear. When the gates of the Supreme Court Bar Association are narrowed to exclude an entire segment of the legal community, the foundation of the judiciary itself begins to tilt. Today, we have heard how the Anti-Terrorism Act, a tool designed for national security, is being re-engineered as a political filter to determine who can and cannot lead our profession. If a lawyer's right to candidacy is based on a loyalty test rather than their standing as an officer of the court, we are not just losing 42 candidates. We are losing the very principle of equal protection under the law. To our guest, Advocate Amar Islam, Tapash Katibal, and Barrister Masood Akhtar, thank you for your courage in discussing this crisis. And thank you, Anar Shadat Jihan, for your insightful presentation. I'm Tono Imroz Alam, and this has been the Persecution Report. Stand for the law, even when the law is being used to sit you down. Thank you very much.